witnessing Black Britons
You're
exist.
just living. Yeah, literally. It's not as intimate as it was before. You know, you see me with my brothers and stuff, like that's a different type of love. Like, I just wanted to go into school and just give out the book. Like, you get what I'm trying to say to all of these young kids, I just wanted to give out the book because
Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be in conversation with you, chatting a bit about who you are, what you do, Lovers Rock, and all of it kind of being in the spirit of Valentine's Day. How are you doing today?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Life is weird, but still amazing because we have it. So we've got to appreciate it. But yeah, man, I'm happy. How about you?
No, I'm great. I'm excited to have you here today. We're going to chat a bit and see how things go. So I'm going to sort of start off with an icebreaker. A little Black British history, should I say, quiz. Don't let it scare you. I guess the idea is that a lot of us grew up in the system not learning about it, so just see what you know. So first question, how many centuries have people of African descent lived in Britain? Is it A, 50 plus years, B, 100 plus years, C, 500 plus years, D, 1,000 plus years, or E, 2,000 plus years?
Why couldn't you just make it A, B, or C? Why couldn't you just make it A, B, or C and make it easier for me? I'm going to say 500.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very good try. It's actually 2000. So it's quite a while ago, and it actually traces back to the Ivory Bangle lady who was...
Wait, so we're in 2021?
21.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So we're going back to the Roman era, basically. So she was a lady found in Roman York, obviously when Britain was under the Roman Empire. And through chemical research, they found that she's actually descended from North Africa at the time. So, you know, York being in Britain, but also under the Roman Empire, just shows how long ago migration from Africa has gone on, really. That's
very, very interesting still, because I would have never known. Wow. You tricked me anyway. That was a trick question.
Okay, so next question. Yes. Which historical Black nurse is famous for having saved many British soldiers during the Crimean War of 1855?
What, no A, B, or C?
Nah. Not this time.
I don't know.
No?
No.
I feel like when I tell you it, you're going to kick yourself.
Wait, then don't tell me.
I'll give you a clue. First letter.
Yeah, go on.
M.
Oh my God, I don't know.
I'm just going to give it to you. You'll know it. It's them ones where, because we haven't learned it as much, like we know it, but we don't know it. So it's Mary Seacole.
Oh yes.
You would have heard
so
of it.
I know the name, but that's the thing that with all of the, this is poor, man. You know, it actually is. You know the name, but you just don't actually know what they done. Yeah, crazy.
Okay, so last question. Who was the first Black footballer to captain England?
Yeah, I should know this one as well, shouldn't I? No A, B, or C.
Nah, I should have, that's a bit harsh for me, but...
Yeah, nah, it's harsh. Give me a clue for the first name again.
P.
I'm just gonna say Peter.
I mean, it's Paul, but it's all right. We'll go with Peter. It's Paul Ince, and he captained England in 1993. So he was the first Black British
that far away.
footballer. Yeah, not that long ago. So thanks for being a good sport and playing that little quiz.
No, I just got all three wrong. That's bad.
I mean, it's a learning experience. It's what we're here for.
I blame you, because you should have had an A, B, or C for the last one.
I should have. It's kind of my fault as well. I know. I apologise. But I guess this whole quiz, it's not about whether you got them right or wrong. It's sort of just showing that we know our history's here, but we don't know where to pinpoint it because we didn't really learn it in school. So that kind of brings me into this section about your school experience growing up. Did you learn any Black history at school, if any?
Obviously, yeah, because there's Black History Month. So there's obviously times where you do hone in on that kind of them that part of history. But it was always, I don't think you've done it unless it was Black History Month. You know what I'm trying to say, which is a bit weird. So it's like you'd be learning about this, that, and whatever, like, you know, Christopher Columbus and all of these people. And then as soon as it comes to October, it's like, okay, we'll put a break on that and then learn about some Black history. And then as soon as the month's over, yeah, let's go back to what we need to go back to and then start learning about that stuff again. But definitely learned obviously some stuff, which is why, you know, like the famous stories of Rosa Parks and obviously like Malcolm X and yeah, and all the others, but it's just the bait ones. I feel like that's the reason why, because those are the only ones they feel that need to be included in history. You know, like I seen something on Twitter like last year, and they found the first Black samurai fighter or something. For example, I didn't even think that Black people had that. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? But just to see that, you know, there was actually a picture of him and everything, it was just mad interesting. You know, like, so yeah, there's definitely like a big gap in between normal history and just Black history in general, which should be normal.
Exactly, no, for
Yeah.
sure. I like that you mentioned the whole, like, you learned about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. What about any British figures? Because I didn't learn any growing up. Did you learn about any Black British history?
No, you know, now that you say that, because I didn't even realize when I was saying those names that they were all American, right? No, I'd say no. Or maybe if you told me one out, it might be able to spark like something in my head. But I guess it's like the situation with Mary Seacole. Like, I know the name, but I don't actually know what they've done, or, you know, it's never stuck with me because we haven't gone into detail with it, or we've never carried on learning it.
No, definitely. Yeah. I relate, and I know a lot of our viewers will relate to that as well.
Yeah, I know that for a fact. If I don't know a lot of this stuff, by the way, I'm not saying like I know a lot, but I just know that a lot of people from my world and my demographic, they don't know nothing about this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's crazy. It's needed.
So you've got, you know, wealth of experience, and you've been in productions, and obviously a lot of us already know you from things like Top Boy, but I guess that was what was really beautiful to see you in something like Lovers Rock, playing Franklin. Yes. Lovers Rock obviously being Steve McQueen's film from the series of Small Acts. Tell us a little bit about Lovers Rock for anyone who might not have seen it.
Lovers Rock, well, Lovers Rock, like you said, is a part of Steve McQueen's anthology series, Small Acts. It mainly focuses on like a blues party, like how a blues party was back in the 80s. And I don't know about you, but I never knew what that was like until I got to be a part of the project. And for a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they never knew what that was like until they watched me in it. So, you know, it was like, those are the kind of projects as well that I want to be in, where it's educational as well as you can enjoy it. So yeah, like that's essentially what Lovers Rock was. I play a character, Franklin, who falls in love with this character, Martha, played by Amara, just on a night out. And what I love about it is that this is stuff that still happens now. You get what I'm trying to say to you? It's like, it's timeless. But the fact that we got to take it to that world and that space and see how they kind of moved and done things, and just realize that nothing really has changed, was just an amazing experience. Yeah, so that's pretty much what Lovers Rock was.
So Franklin, young man of West Indian descent, living his best life, 1970s, 80s London. What was it like for you to step into his shoes? Obviously, it's more of a period piece, historical piece. Did you have to do any wider research or preparation for his role?
When I say, when literally you're asking what was it like to step into his shoes, literally stepping into the shoes is what changes a lot of your characterization, like, without you even knowing as well. Like, I remember thinking, not even thinking, it's just it wasn't even a thought. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. Like, it wasn't even a thought. I just remember when I put on the shoes, I was like, raw, like, this is mad. Like, because it was heels in it, like low heels. And I was thinking, raw, that's what people used to wear. And it actually changes the way you walk. And then from the time you get a walk, when you start walking different, you actually feel like a different person. So costume really helped. But in terms of research and stuff, what I needed to do was obviously get the accent and that on point. The accent wasn't a problem for me. The main problem was actually trying to make it a bit more understandable. And I felt like that was the issue at the beginning. But I kept thinking, right, like, where I'm from, not even where I'm from, like, me and my family, like, when they speak Jamaican, they speak proper Jamaican, innit? And when they speak English, they can't speak English like that. So that's what I know. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's what I know. And then they were kind of trying to tell me, nah, like there's people that can speak proper English, and then they switch. It's like speaking a different language. When Steve said that, that's what changed my whole mindset. And also in terms of research, I watched Babylon, I think, and that's when I started realizing, yo, there's not a lot of stuff. Like, you know, if I wanted to research, like for example, a war, a time in war, a period in war of a white man, there's so much. Then when I wanted to research this, there was literally like Babylon. I think maybe you could use Yardi as an example. But in terms of authenticity, it was only and actually done in that time. Yeah, Babylon's really the only thing that you could watch and understand the voices and how important music was back then and all of that stuff, you know, because those things are important, like how important those things are. Like, obviously, music's always going to be important, but how much of an influence it had on like a culture in that time, yeah, music was very important to the Caribbeans, especially in the UK. That's why this I think Steve included this within the series, because it was kind of their refuge. They go there to, you know, take themselves away from the numb reality. So, you know, it was beautiful, man. Beautiful to understand that as well as be a part of it.
So what's one thing you learned while on set or while reading script or doing character research about this period that you didn't know before? If there is
one thing I learned a lot. But obviously I learned about the way that they used to dress. Never really used to know. I never really knew about it like that. I learned about that, even the dancing, for example, like that was a whole process, by the way. Like that was a whole process, how males used to approach females and basically the love language of a dance. And all of that stuff was all new to me, you know, like nowadays, like especially my kind of parties, how I used to party anyway. You know, it's a lot of whining and daggering, and do you get what I'm trying to say? It's not as intimate as it was before. Because, you know, it's a lot of face to face and all of that. And that was kind of weird for me, because I'm thinking, raw, like, this is different.
So for a lot of British kids, including myself, our sort of consumption of TV and movies was mainly American. Especially when it comes to romance. Our representations of Black love were American actors, American films. And so that's, I guess, why British series such as Small Axe and Lovers Rock was so much more relatable and refreshing. What is it like being a Black British actor, playing roles which centre Black narratives, but I guess more importantly, centres Black love in a positive light?
Yeah, I feel like for me, because I've done Top Boy and Blue Story as well, and you know the stuff that comes with that. But for me, even with those roles, you know, in terms of my character and character more so in Top Boy, you know, you see me with my brothers and stuff, like that's a different type of love. You know what I'm trying to say to you, and it's a love that a lot of the youth carry. You know, they love their brothers, and also, by the way, not just blood brothers. They consider the boys that they grow up within these blocks that they've been placed in, brothers. You get what I'm trying to say? Because that's what they know. They've been together from young. So who are you to tell them that because they're not related or whatever, that they're not brothers? You get what I'm saying? But yeah, I'd consider that love also. But for me, it was good to be on both sides. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, not just being Small Axe and look at Top Boy and think, well, we need these narratives at the same time. Do you get it? But I definitely feel like, you know, there needs to be a lot more storytelling where it's not just about that in isolation, like the gang life in isolation or whatever, or what people need to do. But at the end of the day, it's still a lot of people's truths. And if people want to write about their truths, that's also fine. So I guess what needs to be done is a lot of people that their truth is a lot more of love and, you know, or even that part of their life in isolation, getting opportunities to be able to write stories that actually get commissioned. Because, you know, there's people that actually write this stuff, by the way. There's a lot of these stories that are about, there's a lot of writers that are Black, but they just don't get commissioned. And I actually remember being in the press for Small Axe, and Tracy Schofield, which was one of the producers of Small Axe, she's white, and she said it was still difficult, by the way, to get small acts greenlit. You know what I'm trying to say? So if it takes an Oscar-winning director time to get these things like greenlit and on our screens, like, you know, he had the idea 10 years ago and it's only come out 2020. Like, so yeah, man, there's obviously still a long way to go for people's work and creativity to be considered, I guess. And because a lot of people, like, and it actually quite annoys me, it's like people they think that it's, you know, the people that actually get their work green lit. So like, you know, for example, Blue Story, it's like, oh, why didn't Rapman been given an opportunity? Why didn't he write a story about this? No, Rapman's writing his truth and he's done the work to be able to get this green lit and he wants to tell this story first. There's nothing wrong with that. You get what I'm trying to say? But at the same time, yes, there need to be more stories that are not of that world, and there will be, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, but you know, give people time to kind of let that happen.
Now, I just wanted to say that I really like how you sort of engage with the topic of love. So there's love, there's familial love, there's that sense of brotherhood, family.
Yeah.
And then there's also romantic love, which we see a bit more in Lovers Rock. But I think with Lovers Rock as well, what makes it such a great production in terms of sort of preserving Black British history is that there didn't really need to be a long plot. It was just witnessing Black Britons exist.
You're just living. Yeah, literally.
It was great because sometimes, you know, you think you need to get something from a show, but just watching them exist was beautiful in itself because you don't see it.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of want to round it off slightly, talking a bit more about education. So at the Black curriculum, we use education as a tool to empower young people, to give them a sense of belonging. How do you think the arts can kind of accompany this effort to try and empower young people who maybe don't see themselves represented?
I feel like there's many ways. For what I'd say is like a perfect example is Small Acts and Lovers Rock. You know what I'm trying to say is literally representing people from that look like us on screen, and a young kid or something watching it and thinking, oh my God, like that person kind of looks like me. I can see myself in that position one day. And I feel like those are the things that need to keep happening, whether it's a film, whether it's a book. I remember this book that I read, for this charity thing. And I just wanted to read a Black book. I had to read a kid's book. But I didn't know any Black kids book apart from Hannah's Surprise. I think that was the only one I knew. But I wanted to do, I didn't think I could get clearance to read that book. So I had to find one. And it was this Black book, and it was just that, I think it was Riley Can Be Anything. Yeah, I'm trying to say, in each page it was telling you what you can be anything you want from a young age. And I just feel like, I just wanted to go into school and just give out the book. Like, you get what I'm trying to say to all of these young kids? I just wanted to give out the book because I don't feel like I had a book like that when I was young. But when I read it, even as a grown youth, it's like, you know, I still felt something. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I saw this Black little boy in the book, and then his uncle and aunt, you know, are telling him he can be anything, or he can be anything like his uncle, like his aunt, and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we don't all have that luxury of having people from our in our you know, ecosystem and that are doing things in that world. You know what I'm trying to say, that and are doing different kind of things apart from what we know. So, you know, it's just about trying to get there and allowing others to follow. So I kind of guess that's what I'm trying to do in this space as well, you know, just keep knocking down barriers that further barriers, and walking through the barriers that have already been knocked down for me to be able to come through. Like, yeah, man, and just continue passing the baton.
Yeah, so talking about passing the baton, I guess, if there was a piece of advice that you'd give to your younger self or any young person today who sort of wants to achieve or pursue their dreams, what would that piece of advice be?
It's going to sound corny, but I'm going to just say this. It was actually, this motto was my primary school's like slogan. And it was, and I've only started reverting back to it now. Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? I didn't, it's not I forgot about it. It stuck with me all of this time, by the way. I haven't been back to my primary school in years. But like, I read something and I was like, rah, this is what my primary school said. But anyway, I'm going to stop keeping the suspense. But it's, if you believe if you believe, you can achieve. And I feel like that's one thing that we need to understand right now. Don't feel like there's all of these barriers and all of these things in the way, because if you do feel like that, 9 times out of 10, they are going to be in the way and you will never be able to get through them. But if you do believe that you can do these things, like for example, I maybe needed Kevin Hart and his journey to make me believe that it is possible. But once I knew that it was possible, you know, then I just have to do the work to be able to continue to do that. Yes, we might have to do a bit more work, or sometimes you don't have to, but you know, sometimes you will, and sometimes that's just how it's got to be. At the end of the day, as long as you're doing something that you love and you believe in what you're doing and there's a purpose for it, then that's the main thing. I think that's what I'd tell my younger self. But in a short-winded way, what I would say is, bro, if you believe, you can achieve, man, and just stick with that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Really great piece of advice as well.
As you can see, I failed all 3 of the open questions. I won't forget this, by the way. It's going to live with me forever. And maybe I needed this to really realize that, you know, I need to learn a lot more about my people and what we've done in history, you know. And I feel like it is very, very important what you guys are doing. And any way that I can help moving forward, man, just let me know, because like I said, it's very important. It needs to be done. And, you know, if I can be a vessel for that, then I will be. Yeah, no, we were straight. We were good.